I never thought my mother's voice could shatter glass. But there it was, her scream slicing through the Bing Crosby crooning, "White Christmas" like a switchblade through tinsel. "You're a burden, Elizabeth. We don't want you here." The words hung in the air, thicker than the fog of bourbon breath from Uncle Ted. And every head in that godforsaken Upper East Side penthouse swiveled toward me like I'd just confessed to poisoning the punch. But here's the thing, I wasn't shocked. I'd been waiting for this moment for 5 long years, nursing it like a grudge in a flask.
And tonight,
Under the glow of that 15-foot Fraser fur dripping with Swarovski ornaments, I finally uncorked my plan. It started, like all good American tragedies, with a lie I swallowed whole back in sophomore year at Yale. I was 19, majoring in psych because Mom insisted it was practical for landing a therapist gig to fix the messes she'd made of our family. My brother, Jack, golden boy, heir apparent to Dad's Wall Street empire, was the real screw-up. He got pinched for insider trading, a sloppy hack job that could have tanked the firm if it went public.
but Dad.
Ever the fixer, with his Ivy League Rolodex, needed a scapegoat. "Take the fall, Lizzie," he whispered in the den one rainy afternoon, his Scotch-slurred voice like gravel. "Jack's got the future. You'll bounce back. Women always do." I did it. Forged a few emails, signed my name to the bogus trades, and when the SEC came knocking, I played the wide-eyed accomplice. Pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor. Got probation and community service, flipping burgers at a soup kitchen in the Bronx while Jack partied in the Hamptons. Mom, she never said a word. Just patted my hand at the sentencing, her diamonds catching the courtroom fluorescence, and murmured, "Family first, darling. Family first." What a crock. That lie chained me. No grad school. No corner office. Just scraping by as a barista in Brooklyn, watching Jack climb the ladder I built with my blood and tears. The Christmas party was the annual Harrington Gala, a spectacle of Manhattan excess where trust fund toddlers in tiny tuxes rubbed elbows with hedge fund vampires. I'd only come because Dad guilt me into it. One night, Lizzie, for old time's sake, and I showed up in my one good dress, thrift store chic amid the Chanel parade. The penthouse overlooked Central Park, all floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city lights like a snow globe of the elite. Laughter echoed off the herringbone floors, clinking crystal toasting deals that could buy small countries. I nursed a gin and tonic in the corner, eavesdropping on whispers about mergers and mistresses, when Mom cornered me by the grand piano. She was resplendent in red velvet, her Botox-smooth face twisted into something feral. "Elizabeth," she hissed, low enough not to scatter the guests, but sharp enough to draw blood. "Why are you even here? Parading your little failures like some badge of honor?" Her eyes flicked to my chipped nail polish, my sensible flats. The room hushed as if on cue, someone killed the music, or maybe it was just my pulse thundering in my ears. "You're a burden," she spat. Louder now, her voice carrying like a verdict. "And we don't want you here." The slap of her words landed harder than any hand. Uncle Ted choked on a cigar. Aunt Clara's fan snapped shut.
Jack,
lounging by the bar with his arm around some intern half his age, smirked like he'd scripted it. I stood there, glass trembling in my hand, the gin sloshing like my unraveling resolve. But inside,
ice.
Pure, glacial certainty. Because buried in my purse, tucked beside my lipstick, was a USB drive fat with the truth, the emails, the wire transfers, the recordings I'd clawed from the family server over months of late-night hacks. My plan wasn't revenge. It was resurrection. And it started right then. With a smile, I forced like a loaded gun. I set the glass down on a passing waiter's tray. The clink swallowed by the stunned silence. "Merry Christmas, Mother," I said, my voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. Then I turned, weaving through the crowd like a ghost to her own funeral, and slipped into the study off the foyer. The door clicked shut behind me, muffling the gasps and murmurs. Heart hammering, I fired up Dad's ancient desktop, the one he kept for sentimental reasons, password still his dog's birthday, and plugged in the drive. Files bloomed on the screen. Jack's trades, timestamped to his laptop, Mom's frantic calls to the family lawyer, begging to pin it on me, even a voice memo from Dad admitting it all over golf with his cronies. Lizzie's the patsy. Keeps the golden child clean. My fingers flew across the keys, uploading to an anonymous server I'd set up through a VPN in some Eastern European backwater. One click, and it'd blast to every major financial news outlet. The SEC tip line. And why not? Jack's entire contact list. But I paused, thumb hovering. This wasn't just exposure, it was Armageddon for them. Jack disbarred. Dad's firm in ruins. Mom's socialite throne toppled into the tabloids. And me, collateral in the blast radius. Forever the whistleblower bitch. But 5 years of flipping burgers, of dodging pitying stares at family reunions, had forged something unbreakable in me. Betrayal isn't a wound, it's a weapon. A knock rattled the door. Dad, probably, with his apologies prepackaged like last year's fruitcake.
Lizzie?
Open up. Honey. Let's talk. His voice, all paternal velvet over steel. I yanked the drive, pocketed it, and straightened my dress. The party's hum seeped through the oak panel, a reminder of the empire built on my back. No more. I cracked the door, meeting his eyes blue like mine, but his flecked with panic. Not now.
Dad, I said softly.
But soon. Then I brushed past him, back into the fray, the USB burning a hole in my pocket like a live grenade. The night blurred after that. Guests shot me sidelong glances, whispers trailing like smoke. Did Evelyn really say that? Poor Elizabeth. Always the black sheep. Jack sidled up as I grabbed my coat from the marble vestibule. His cologne, some overpriced vetiver, choking me. Rough night. Sis, Mom's had a few too many eggnogs. His grin was all teeth. No remorse. I wanted to smash it, but timing is everything in revenge. Yeah, I murmured, zipping up. Rough. He clapped my shoulder, harder than necessary, and sauntered off to schmooze a senator's wife.
Outside.
The December wind whipped down Fifth Avenue. Snow flurries dancing under the street lamps like confetti from hell. I hailed a cab, the yellow beast materializing like fate, and slid in, giving the driver my Brooklyn address. As the city lights streaked by, Rockefeller Center's tree a gaudy beacon of false cheer, I pulled out my phone. One last check, the upload queued, set to trigger at midnight, when the Harringtons would be toasting their hypocrisy. My plan had layers.
Though.
This was just the appetizer. The main course? Uncovering the deeper rot. The secret Mom had buried deeper than Jack's crimes, the one that explained why she'd always hated me. Why I'd been the disposable one from day one. It dated back to before I was born. A skeleton in the family closet I'd unearthed during those sleepless server dives. Dad's affair. Not with some secretary, but with Mom's sister, my Aunt Claire, the wild one who'd vanished to California when I was a kid. I wasn't Jack's full sister. I was the product of that betrayal. A living reminder Mom had smothered under silk scarves and boarding school tuition. She'd known about the insider trading setup from the start, greenlit it even to keep Jack pristine while I, the interloper, took the hit. Blood isn't always thicker, her emails read. Sometimes it's just a stain. The cab jolted over potholes, mirroring the churn in my gut. Midnight loomed, 20 minutes away. I leaned back, closing my eyes, rehearsing the fallout. Sirens in my future, headlines screaming, Harrington heirs fraud expose, Jack in cuffs. Mom's face on every gossip rag. Dad's empire crumbling like a bad derivative. But the twist, the real hook in my plan, was the anonymous donation I'd route through a shell account, restitution to the small investors Jack's scheme had fleeced. Widows and retirees who'd lost nest eggs. Hero or villain? That's the American way, gray as a Wall Street fog. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Enjoy the party. Elizabeth? No sender. But I knew.
Jack.
Monitoring from his perch. I deleted it. Fingers steady. Let him gloat. By dawn, he'd be the punchline. Brooklyn welcomed me back like an old bruise, familiar, aching, but home. My studio walk-up in Williamsburg smelled of yesterday's takeout and the faint mildew from the super's half-assed leak fixes. A far cry from the penthouse's potpourri perfection. I tossed my coat over the futon, kicked off my heels, and paced the threadbare rug. The USB drive now on my rickety desk beside a half-dead poinsettia. 10 minutes to launch. The city's hum filtered through the fire escape. Distant horns. A drunk caroling off-key. The eternal underscore to New York nights. I poured a shot of cheap tequila, agave fire for Dutch courage, and sank into my desk chair. The one with the wobbly arm. My laptop. A refurbished Dell that wheezed like an asthmatic. Glowed to life. The dashboard I'd coded in Python, thank you. Free Code Academy courses during probation, ticked down, 9 minutes and 47 seconds. I'd scripted it elegant, drip-feed the files to Reuters. Bloomberg. Even that ragtag indie site run by ex-Enron whistleblowers. Attachments included affidavits I'd notarized at a Kinko's in Queens. Timestamps synced to Jack's iCloud backups I'd fished last summer with a fake Apple alert. But as the clock bled seconds, doubt crept in like damp through the walls. Was this justice or just spite dressed in spreadsheets? Mom's words echoed. Burden. Yeah. I'd been that, carrying their sins since I could walk. Remember the time Jack torched the garage with his fireworks obsession? Age 10. I confessed to Dad. Got grounded for a month while Jack got a new bike. Or high school. When he crashed Mom's Mercedes drunk, I claimed the keys. Lost my license for a year. Patterns. Psych major. Familial enmeshment. They'd call it in a textbook. Abuse. In the real world. The screen flashed green. Deployment initiated. Files winged into the ether. Ghosts unleashed. I refreshed Drudge Report on my phone. Nothing yet. Then, ping, an alert from my tipline bot. SEC acknowledgement received. A grim smile tugged my lips. Phase 1 done. But the plan had teeth. I'd embedded trackers in the leaks, digital breadcrumbs leading back, not to me, but to Jack's poker buddies. The ones who'd laundered the trades through offshore shells. Let them turn on each other like rats in a flood. Sleep? Not tonight. I brewed coffee, bloskas my muet, and scrolled old family albums on my phone, digital relics from before the fracture. There I was, gap-toothed at 6. arm around Jack's neck during a Cape Cod summer. Mom in the background, her smile tight as a cinch strap. She'd always known about the affair, pieced it together from Dad's late nights and Claire's sudden exodus. But instead of divorce drama, she'd weaponized it, kept me close as a trophy of her tolerance. A silent "see what I endure" to Dad. And when the trading scandal hit, I was the perfect proxy, not fully hers, so easier to sacrifice. A buzz jolted me. Dad's number. Voicemail. Lizzie. What the hell? Reporters at the door, Jack screaming about hacks. Call me. Panic laced his baritone. The king dethroned. I deleted it, savoring the symmetry. Let him stew. My phone lit up again, unknown caller. I answered, muting my breath. Elizabeth Harrington? A gravelly voice. Male. Accented faintly Jersey. This is Detective Ruiz. NYPD, Financial Crimes. We got a tip, big one, on your brother's trades. You named in the docs. Mind coming down to the station tomorrow? Coffee's on us. My throat tightened, but I played it cool, years of customer service smiles honing the art. Sure. Detective. 10 a.m. Work. He grunted assent. Hung up. Ally or ambush? In this game, lines blurred. I'd cited myself as the coerced accomplice in the files. Flipping the script. Victim. Not villain. If the cops bit, Jack's empire cracked wider. Dawn crept in, gray and grudging, painting my walls in slushy light. I showered, the hot water scalding away the night's grime, and dressed in jeans and a wool coat, practical armor for the precinct. But first, breakfast at the diner down the block, where Maria the waitress slid me eggs over easy without asking. Rough holidays, chica? She asked, eyeing the shadows under my eyes. I shrugged. Family stuff. She nodded, wise in her grease-stained apron. Blood's thick, but it cuts deep. The subway to Midtown was a sardine can of strap hangers. Holiday shoppers clutching bags like shields. I emerged into the chill, the PD's squat brick building looming like a bad omen. Ruiz met me in a windowless interview room. Coffee steaming in styrofoam, bitter, but hot. He was compact, 50s, with a mustache that screamed 80s cop show. MS. Harrington. Appreciate you coming. This tip, it's gold. Your brother's in deep.
But you.
You say he and your folks framed you. I nodded, sliding over printed emails, hard copies for deniability. 5 years ago. I was young, trusted them. Took the plea to protect the family name. My voice cracked just right, rehearsed vulnerability. Ruiz leaned back, scribbling notes. Motive for the leak now. I met his gaze. Steady. Truth serum. Detective. Holidays bring it out. He chuckled.
Dark. Yeah.
They do. Look. We'll need your statement formal. But off record? This could bury the Harringtons. You okay with that?
Was I?
The girl who'd burned burgers for penance screamed yes. The daughter who'd craved their approval whispered no. More than okay, I said. It's overdue. Back on the street. My phone exploded, texts from numbers I hadn't seen since college. Saw the news. You badass. From an old roommate. Traitor. From a cousin. The stories had broken, CNBC ticker screaming, Harrington trading scandal rocks Wall Street. I ducked into a Starbucks. The barista's chatter a blur. And streamed the coverage. Anchors in power suits dissected the docks. Jack's photo flashing, his smirk now a liability. Mom's society page gloss vanished under headlines. Heiress's son in fraud probe. Elation warred with nausea. This was power. Raw and electric. But it tasted like ash. A call cut through, Mom. I let it ring twice. Then answered. Elizabeth. Her voice, stripped of venom,
Quavered.
What have you done? The press, they're calling it a vendetta. Dad's having a heart scare.
Good.
Let him feel the chest crush I'd carried. Vendetta? Try justice. Mother. You made me the villain. I just gave you the role. Silence. Then a sob, real or theater.
You don't understand.
There are reasons. Come home. Please. Reasons. The secret she'd guarded like a vault. I hung up, blocking the number. Phase 2 beckoned, confronting Jack. Alone. I traced his bolt hole, a no-tell motel in Jersey. The kind with neon vacancies and hourly rates. He'd run when the cops pinged his phone, thinking cash could buy silence. But I had his itinerary, hacked from his assistant's calendar.
Tonight.
Under the Pulaski Skyway's rusting shadow, I'd corner him. Not with fists, but facts, a recording of him bragging about the frame job at a frat party. Digitized and ready to drop if he lawyered up. The day dragged in a haze of errands, laundry, groceries, the mundane mooring me amid the storm. By evening, the city throbbed with pre-Christmas frenzy. Ice skaters at Bryant Park. Salvation Army bells clanging like accusations. I cabbed to Jersey. The Lincoln Tunnel a wormhole to the underbelly. The motel squatted off the turnpike. Its sign flickering VA and CY like a bad omen. Room 12. Second floor. I climbed the exterior stairs. Heels clicking on corroded metal. Heart a war drum. Jack answered on the second knock. Shirtless and sweaty. A bottle of Jack Daniels dangling from his fist. His eyes widened, surprise. Then calculation. Lizzie? What the fuck? I pushed past him into the room. The door banging shut behind me like a gavel. The place reeked of stale smoke and regret, peeling wallpaper. A bed sagging under fast food wrappers. The TV murmuring Fox News recaps of our family implosion. Jack backed up, clutching the bottle like a talisman. His abs honed at equinox, no doubt, tensed under the harsh fluorescent buzz. You did this, he growled, low and accusatory, as if I were the thief in our shared nightmare. The leaks. Cops crawling up my ass. All because Mom lost her shit at the party? I laughed. A sharp bark that echoed off the thin walls. Mom? She's the spark. Jack. You're the gasoline. And me? I've been the match. Waiting to strike. I pulled the burner phone from my coat pocket, the one I'd bought with cash at a bodega, and hit play. His voice filled the room. Tinny but unmistakable. Dude. Lizzie's such a pushover. Signed the trades. Took the heat, poof. I'm golden. Laughter from his frat bros. Then static. His face drained of color. The bottle slipping to the carpet with a thud. Where'd you? Doesn't matter. I stepped closer. Close enough to smell the whiskey on his breath. What matters is this. I end it tonight. Confess. Or this hits every podcast from Joe Rogan to the true crime TikToks. He lunged for the phone. But I danced back. Years of yoga in a church basement paying off. Try it. Golden boy. Assaulting your sister, the disgraced one, won't play well in court. He slumped onto the bed. head in hands, the picture of fallen frat royalty. Why now?
Liz?
After all this time? We could have talked. Fixed it. Fixed it. Like I was a leaky faucet, not a life derailed. I paced the cramped space, my shadow stretching like a noose. Talk, like when you crashed my prom after-party, puked on my date, and I covered by saying it was the punch, or when you OD'd on pills at Dartmouth, and I drove you to the ER, claiming it was my stash. I've been your cleanup crew since diapers. Jack. And for what? So you could yacht in the Sound while I scrubbed toilets. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed, not tears, but the dawn of self-pity. It wasn't like that. Dad pushed the legacy, the firm.
Mom.
She hated you for it. You know. The affair. Said you were Claire's curse on us. There it was. The secret spilling like cheap wine. Aunt Claire. The ghost who'd sent birthday cards with pressed wildflowers until they stopped. Mom's sister. Dad's indiscretion. My biological mother. I'd suspected. But hearing it from Jack's lips, it landed like a sucker punch. Yeah, I said, voice flat. I know. Dug it up like the rest. I tossed him a printout. Claire's obituary. Yellowed from a California paper. Cause of death. Accidental overdose. Dated weeks after my birth. She OD'd. Jack. Left me to your viper's nest. And Mom? She raised me as her own. Out of spite. Or what? To twist the knife in Dad every morning over coffee? He shook his head. Vehement.
No.
She loved you. In her way. Protected us all. That trading thing? It was her idea to frame you, said blood outsiders don't count. Outsiders. The word hung. A verdict on my 29 years. I wanted to scream. To rake nails down his smug face. But revenge isn't catharsis. It's chess. Protect? She sacrificed me to keep your halo shiny.
Now.
Your move, call your lawyer. Turn state's evidence on Dad and her. Or I walk. And the world hears frat boy Jack's greatest hits. He stared, calculating, the schemer unmasked, flipping from predator to prey. Minutes ticked. The TV droning about market dips tied to our scandal. Finally, he grabbed his phone, dialing with trembling fingers. Yeah, it's Jack Harrington. Need to come clean, full confession. His eyes met mine as he spoke, a mix of hate and gratitude, twisted, but there. When he hung up, the room felt smaller, air thicker. Happy now?
Sis?
Family's fucked. Not yet. I pocketed the phone, heading for the door. But getting there.
Outside.
The Jersey night pressed in. Humid despite the cold. The Skyway's traffic a distant roar. I walked to the bus stop, mind racing ahead. Jack's confession would domino. Dad indicted. Mom exposed as the architect. But the plan's crown jewel? Confronting her. Not with files, but face to face. In the ruins of her empire. The bus back to the city was half empty. Riders huddled in hoodies, scrolling doom feeds about us. My reflection in the grimy window stared back, hollow-cheeked.
Determined.
Elizabeth Harrington. No longer the burden. The breaker. By morning, the headlines evolved. Harrington's son to plead guilty in massive fraud. Shares in Dad's firm tanked 40%. Sirens wailing in my imagination. Home again. I crashed for a few hours. Dreams a slurry of red dresses and shattered glass. Woke to pounding, literal, on my door. Heart slamming. I peered through the peephole. 2 suits. Badges glinting. NYPD. MS. Harrington? Open up. We need to talk.
Shit. Too soon for pickup.
Unless Jack flipped the script. I cracked the door.
Chain on.
Detective Ruiz? That was fast. Not Ruiz. The lead. A woman with a no bullshit bob. Flashed her ID. LT. Harlan. Internal Affairs. Your tip solid, but we got questions. Off-book meeting with your brother last night? Motel security caught you. My stomach dropped.
Jack.
The rat, trading me for leniency? Or a bluff? Come in, I said. Unchain. They filed into my shoebox life. Eyes scanning the USB on the desk like it was contraband. Harlan sat on the futon, her partner looming. Walk us through it, Elizabeth. From the party yell to the Jersey powwow. I did. Measured. The betrayal. The hacks. The confrontation. Omitted the ant twist. Some cards stay hidden. Harlan nodded. Scribbling. Your brother's singing, full bird on the parents. But he says you coerced him. Blackmailed with old audio. Liar. But smart, classic Jack. Flipping to save skin. Bullshit, I snapped. Check the timestamps. I was the victim. Harlan's eyes softened. Fractionally. We will. But this family's a snake pit. You sure you want the fangs turned on you? Did I? The room spun. Coffee fumes and fear. Better than choking on venom. They left with the USB for analysis and promises of protection. Alone. I sank to the floor, knees to chest. The plan fracturing already. Edges sharp. Afternoon brought the summons. Mom. By a courier. A crisp envelope with a family crest. Come to the brownstone. 7 p.m. We talk. Or I go nuclear. Nuclear. Her ace? Claire's full story. Perhaps letters. Proof I'd known longer than I let on. Or worse, fabricated dirt to paint me the mastermind. The brownstone on the Upper West Side was our cozy retreat. All exposed brick and Eames chairs. A facade for the Cold War within. I arrived early. Cab fare from my tip jar. The doorman eyeing me like yesterday's news. Mom answered herself, no staff. For once, gaunt in cashmere. Her face a roadmap of Botox fails and bad sleep. Elizabeth. No embrace. Just a sweep toward the den. Dad was there. Oxygen mask fogging his cheeks. Hooked to a tank like a downed dirigible. Jack absent, probably in holding. The fire crackled, mocking the chill. Sit, Mom commanded, pouring scotch with hands that shook. I perched on the leather club chair, the one I'd vomited on as a toddler. Irony. You've destroyed us, she started. Voice a whip. Firm's gone. Friends vanished. Your father's heart, a gesture to his prone form. He wheezed, eyes pleading, stop this. Good, I said. Payback's a bitch. Ha! She leaned in, eyes feral. You think you know pain? I carried you. Interloper. Claire's bastard. Dumped on my doorstep. I raised you, gave you everything. Everything except truth. I pulled my ace, a locket from my pocket. Claire's, sent anonymously years ago. Engraved to my star.
E.
She wrote letters. Loved me. You poisoned it. Her laugh was bitter, bourbon-scented. Loved? She killed herself because of you. Guilt.
The mess.
I saved this family.
Saved.
By framing me? The room tilted. Her words a vortex. Then the twist. Dad's rasp cut through.
No.
Evelyn. I framed her. For Jack.
You.
You just went along. Betrayal squared. Mom's face crumpled, not acting. She'd been played too. The schemer schemed. What? She whispered. Dad's confession hung in the den like smoke from a misfired gun. Curling around the crystal decanter and the family photos on the mantel, staged smiles from christenings and cotillions. Lies etched in silver frames. Mom staggered back, her cashmere sleeve brushing the poker, sending embers scattering like fleeing accomplices. You? Her voice cracked, high and disbelieving, the socialite armor splintering. All these years, you let me think. Think what? Evelyn. Dad's we sharpened to a blade, the oxygen hissing in rhythm with his rage. He struggled upright, tubes tugging, face purpling under the strain. That you were the puppet master? It was me. From the affair to the trades. Kept you in the dark to keep you loyal. My perfect, venomous wife. His eyes, watery now,
Flicked to me.
And you, Lizzie. God, what have I done? I sat frozen, the locket heavy in my palm. Claire's ghost suddenly corporeal in the firelight. The plan, my meticulously coded Armageddon, teetered on this precipice. Not the clean takedown I'd scripted, but a farce of fractured loyalties. Mom whirled on him, nails raking air inches from his face. You bastard. I took the heat, society whispers, the cold mother label, all for your legacy. And Elizabeth. She turned to me, eyes wild, a mother's love twisted through a funhouse mirror. I hated you for her sake.
Yes.
But I protected you too. Boarded you at Spence to toughen you, not break you. Protected. The word ricocheted. Absurd. By letting me rot in probation hell, while Jack sailed yachts on blood money. My voice rose, echoing off the bookshelves lined with first editions Dad never read. The brownstone's walls, thick with old money, seemed to close in, the distant honk of cabs a lifeline to the world outside this madhouse. Dad coughed, a wet rattle that silenced us. Stop. Both of you. He fumbled for a pill bottle on the side table, popping 2 nitroglycerin tabs, like candy. The truth, all of it.
Claire.
She didn't OD by accident. I pushed her. Pills in her wine. After she threatened to tell you everything. The affair. Your parentage. Said it'd ruin us. His gaze bored into mine. Paternal regret laced with something darker, calculation. Even now. I covered it. Made it look self-inflicted. Evelyn knew fragments. Used it to control me. The trading frame? My gift to Jack. And your cross to bear. Kept the secret buried. Mom gasped, hand to throat, collapsing into the armchair like a deflated debutante. Murder? You killed my sister? Tears tracked her makeup. Black rivulets on porcelain. I should have felt vindication. The villain unmasked. My pain validated, but nausea churned instead. This wasn't revenge. It was revelation. A house of cards collapsing into quicksand. Claire's locket burned my skin. I'd worn it ironically. A talisman of the outsider. Never dreaming it cloaked patricide. Why tell us now? I demanded, voice steady despite the quake in my chest. Dad's lips curled, a ghost of his boardroom smirk. Because your leaks force my hand, Lizzie. The feds are closing in, Ruiz called an hour ago. Full probe, including old files. Claire's autopsy? Sloppy by today's standards. He paused, eyes gleaming with the flip only a Harrington could pull, from confessor to conspirator. Join me. We spin it. Evelyn the jealous killer. Me the grieving husband. You the brave daughter, exposing it all. Jack takes the trade's fall. Weary build on sympathy.
Or
Walk away. And I bury you with her. The offer slithered, tempting in its toxicity. American Dream Reborn. Rise from Ashes. Media Darling Edition. Mom's head snapped up, eyes narrowing, the schemer resurfacing. Don't listen. Elizabeth. He's mad. We go to the press together, me, the betrayed widow. You, my flesh and blood. Flesh and blood. After years of burden, the word twisted like a knife. I stood, legs leaden, the fire's heat cloying. You both disgust me, but as I backed toward the door, Dad's voice stopped me cold. One more thing. Lizzie. Claire's letters? I have them. Proof you're not just the bastard, the heir. She left you everything. Stocks.
properties. Million.
If you play ball.
Heir.
The word detonated. Rewriting my script. All those barista shifts. The thrift racks, not necessity, but a lie he'd perpetuated. Mom lunged, grabbing my arm, nails digging crescents.
Stay.
Fight him with me. Her touch. Frantic. Almost maternal. The room spun, antagonists allying against the true monster, or another layer of the con. I wrenched free, fleeing into the hall, the brownstone's grandeur mocking my escape. Outside, the west side wind howled, gusting snow from the Hudson like confetti from a funeral. Cabbed home in silence, the driver's radio blaring updates, Harrington patriarch hospitalized amid scandal. My phone vibrated. Harlan, your dad's lawyering up. Claims coercion on the frame. Your play? The play. Phase 3. The climax I'd engineered. Now a choose your poison. Expose dad's murder. Torch the remnants? Or leverage the inheritance? Flip to the victor's side? Brooklyn's lights blurred through tears, first real ones since the party. Betrayal's not linear, it's a hydra. Heads multiplying. Night fell heavy, the super's holiday lights twinkling mockingly from the alley. I paced my studio, tequila bottle half empty. Laptop open to Claire's digitized letters, snippets I'd salvaged from Mom's old email archive.
My darling E.
You're the light I couldn't keep. Forgive me for leaving. Forgave? Hell. I mourned her anew. The mother I'd never known sacrificed on the altar of ambition. A knock, soft, insistent. Peered out, Jack, disheveled in a hoodie. No golden glow left. Let me in.
Liz.
Cops release me on bail, Dad's doing. I unchained.
Wary.
He slunk in, collapsing on the futon. It's worse than we thought. Dad's talking murder.
Claire.
Says he did it too. Protect the family.
His eyes.
Bloodshot. Search mine. From you. Said you'd destroy us if you knew.
Destroy.
The echo chilled.
And you?
What now? Brother dear? He pulled a flash drive from his pocket, identical to mine. backup files. Everything on Dad.
But.
He offered me a cut too. Silence for shares. The flip, Jack. My would-be victim. Now the tempter. We could split it. You and me. Against them. Temptation's whisper. Sibling solidarity forged in fire. But his eyes, shifty, like Dad's, betrayed the con. Or, I said, snatching the drive. I add this to the pile. Full exposure. He deflated.
Nodding.
Do it. I'm done playing patsy. For once. Truth, or another mask. Midnight again. The upload queued, Dad's murder confession. Pieced from his drunken voicemails I'd intercepted years back. Cross-referenced with Claire's tox report I'd FOIA'd under a fake name. One click. And the Hydra roared. But as the progress bar filled, doubt gnawed. This climax, exposing patricide, wouldn't split sides cleanly. Dad a monster. Yes, Mom complicit. Jack weak. But me? The Avenger with Claire's blood money in her veins? Gray as Gotham fog. Files sent. Alerts pinged. CNN. Harrington murder probe launched. I poured another shot. The burn steadying. Harlan called. Jesus. Elizabeth. This is nuclear. Safe house.
No.
I'd face the fallout raw. Dawn brought helicopters, media swarm outside my building. I slipped out the fire escape. Hood up. Weaving through back streets to a coffee shop in Bushwick. There. Anonymous amid hipsters and lattes. I scrolled the storm. Pundits debating. Was it justice or matricide revenge? Mom's interview snippet. Tearful. My daughter. She's lost. Dad arrested in his hospital gown. Snarling no comment. Jack vanished, fled to Europe. Whispers said. The split. Online forums erupted. Harrington vendetta trending. Some hailed me hero. Whistleblower slays the dragon. Others damned. Family destroyer. Blood on her hands too. No clear right. Just the American snarl of morality's mess. Bushwick's anonymity shattered by noon. A tipster. Probably a nosy barista. And suddenly flashbulbs popped like gunfire outside the cafe's steamed windows. I bolted through the kitchen, dodging busboys and vats of simmering beans. Out the alley into a warren of graffiti-tagged warehouses. Heart jackhammering. I Ubered to a storage unit in Red Hook. One Dad had rented under my name years back for family heirlooms. Irony, now my bolt hole.
Inside.
Amid dusty crates of china and forgotten skis, I hunkered down. Phone on airplane. The world reduced to concrete echoes and my ragged breaths. The plan's endgame loomed. Uncharted. I'd torch the empire. Unearthed the corpse in the closet, Claire's. Literally, but victory tasted like battery acid. Inheritance papers arrived via courier that afternoon. Slipped under the unit's rattling door. Crisp legalese from a Beverly Hills firm. Claire's estate unfrozen by the scandal's heat. 10 million in tech stocks. A vineyard in Napa. The works. Contingent on discretion, the note read. In Dad's looping script. Discretion. The final flip. Take the blood money. Vanish into reinvention. Or burn it all in a public pyre. Night settled. The port's foghorns moaning like lost souls. I cracked a window. Salty air mingling with rust. And unboxed a bottle of Napa Cab from the crates. Claire's vintage. Label faded. Poured into a chipped mug. Swirled the garnet depths. To her. The ghost who'd birthed me into betrayal. One sip. And memories flooded, not mine. but stitched from letters. Claire's wild youth. Hitchhiking Route 66. Painting sunsets in Big Sur. Free. On Harrington. What if I'd been hers? A buzz, burner phone. Harlan's line. Elizabeth? Where the hell are you? Feds want you for debrief. Mom's lawyered up, claiming you fabricated the murder audio. Fabricated. The lie's last gasp. Tell them I'm coming, I lied back. Tomorrow. Hung up. Smashed the phone under my boot, sparks and silence. No more strings. Dawn painted the harbor gold, gulls wheeling like scavengers. I cabbed to the brownstone, the driver prattling about the scandal, crazy rich folks. Oblivious to the face in his rear view. The door yielded to my key, and used in years. And inside, carnage. Furniture slashed by movers. Walls echoing empty. Mom sat amid the detritus, in a silk robe frayed at the hems, a half-packed suitcase at her feet. She looked up, eyes hollowed by gin and grief. You came. No warmth, just weariness. I crossed to the den, now stripped bare, the fireplace cold as a grave. For closure. She rose, unsteady, offering a tumbler, scotch. Her elixir.
Dad's gone.
Extradited to California, Claire's case reopened. Jack. Texted from Zurich. Says sorry.
Sorry.
The word. Inadequate as a band-aid on a bullet wound. We sat on the floor, backs to the mantel, the mug between us like a peace pipe. Why'd you do it? She asked. Voice small. The leaks. Him, Dad. The architect. I sipped. The burn familiar. Because you made me the monster first. The burden. But mostly. For her. Tapped the locket. Now a chain around my neck. Mom's hand trembled toward it, then fell.
Claire.
I envied her, free, untethered. When she came back, pregnant, begging help, I saw my cage reflected. Told her to leave.
She did.
Then the pills. Not murder. Then suicide. Catalyzed by cruelty. Dad's lie. The final twist. He confessed to pushing her, I said. But you pushed first. She nodded. Tears carving paths. Guilt's a slow poison. Framed you to atone, sacrifice the outsider. Save the sun. Twisted logic. Twisted. The word encapsulated us, a family of Mobius strips. No inside or out. What now? She whispered. My turn to flip. We end it. Together. Pulled the inheritance stalks. Set them ablaze in the empty grate, flames devouring millions. Ash snowing like absolution. Mom watched. Silent. Then added her own. Dad's will. Jack's trust papers. Pyre of privilege. Clean slate, I said. She reached for my hand, cold, but holding. Outside. Sirens wailed, cops for her.
Probably.
We stood, embracing awkwardly. Spines of strangers. Go, she murmured. Live for her. I did. Slipping into the morning mist. The city unfolding like a map redrawn. Epilogues gray. I vanished to Big Sur. Waitressing in a cliffside shack. Painting sunsets with Claire's old brushes. Mom got house arrest. Wrote a memoir, bestseller. Controversial. Splitting readers on her villainy or victimhood. Dad rotted in county. Pleading insanity. Jack vanished. Rumors of a Thai beach scam.
Me?
No hero. No villain, just Elizabeth. The light reclaimed. But late nights. Waves crashing. I wonder, was the revenge mine? Or hers through me? Justice. Or just another betrayal cycled? Debate it over drinks the American way. No answers. Only echoes.